Hey guys, George of SoundTraxx here. This week we're going to show you how to quickly install a Tsunami 2 into an Athearn model. This is a Genesis model that does not have sound. Now this is one of the more recent releases with LEDs. Now if you missed out on your favorite locomotive with sound, we're going to show you quickly how you can do an upgrade and get the full Tsunami 2 sound that you're looking for. So let's get started. All right, so here I am. I've got an Athearn non-sound SD70M. Now I'm going to take this model off of we're going to put it on our little work table here, and you can see the logo on the end. This is an SD70M. You can see the LED logo. You can also see that it doesn't have the Tsunami 2 logo. So this tells us that this is a non-sound equipped model. It does have the LEDs, and this is going to be important, and it is ready to go. So we're going to show you a quick installation. Now the reason the LED models are important is because this particular installation applies to using a 21 pin, which Athearn has included in their models with a non-sound 21 pin, but also with the LEDs. Prior to the LED use, they were using a 9-pin harness, which we've showed you videos in the past on how to plug that in. So today we're going to go ahead and show you how to do the 21 pin version. So I'm going to go ahead and set this box down. Now the first thing we have is our model here in front. I'm going to grab some tools off the side here. First off is going to be my screwdrivers. We have to open up and take the body shell off. So we're going to quickly do that with the couplers. Take the couplers out. So we'll take this first screw out and we'll pull the coupler box out. Let's see here. I'm going to grab my tweezers. We're going to push this box out. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing for the front. And you can see this right here. You got the 2 coupler boxes. One on the front, one on the back. And we can gently push that out, or so it seems. There we go. All right. So now we have our 2 coupler boxes removed. Now there are 2 more screws inside this. One in front of the rear truck off to the one side. You can see it right there. We do need to remove that. And that just unscrews out just like normal. And then there's one behind the front truck right here in front of the fuel tank as well on the opposite side. So we'll go ahead and get into there and we'll remove that screw. Now once that screw is loose, now the body shell simply removes right off. Just like that. Uh-oh. There we go. All right, revealing inside of the body, you can see that we have our 21 pin circuit board right here. We have our LED lights mounted up inside the model. And we have our speaker enclosure right here. Now what I'm not understanding is why this seems to be loose. This looks like it's missing a screw here. Should be a screw right there holding this housing in place. So we're going to have to replace that before we put the body shell on. But in the meantime, you can see that we have our 21 pin decoder circuit board right here. Now this is a dummy board that you just simply unplug and pull out. What this does is this jumpers the track power directly to the motor and the lights so that way, as an analog DC power supply, you don't have to worry about the decoder and you don't have to make those connections yourself. This circuit board does it. So we're going to take our tweezers, and it's important you want to press even pressure all the way across, because if you pull it and try to do it with your fingers, it's really easy to pull one side off versus the other and you'll bend one of those pins. So you want to try to make sure you don't bend the pin. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our tweezers, run it evenly across there, and you can see that that 21 pin circuit board just lifts right off. Now for this installation, we're using our Tsunami 2 TSU-21PNEM8, and this is for the EMD flavors, so that way we get the proper 710 sound that we're going to need for this decoder, or for this locomotive. So we're going to go ahead and open the staples. We're going to take the packaging and we're going to set it aside. We're going to grab our decoder out of the package. Whoops, it's sealed. Now that we have our decoder removed from the packaging, this is literally a matter of just simply plugging it in. You want to line up the pins. And one thing that's always important, you want to make sure that the black plastic header is on top and there's one of the pins that are actually blocked out so it will not press in the wrong way. So this particular one, you're going to see that it fits in like this. If you try to fit it in like this, or if you turn it upside down and plug it in, you're going to potentially damage the decoder, but you don't want to do that. You want to make sure to put it in properly. So the black plastic header goes on top. We're going to go ahead and simply line up the pins and press it into place just like that. That's simple. Now next we have to address the speaker, and as I mentioned, we have our speaker mount right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 screws that are here in the speaker enclosure. We're going to take them out. And this speaker slug should just fall out. There we go. It's coming. So now that leaves us a nice opening right here for our 28mm round. So we're going to go ahead and get our 28mm round. This is part number 810153. It's our 28mm 2-watt speaker. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to open the package. So now we have our 28mm speaker, and as you can see, it lines right up, right in there. Now there's actually 2 ways you can mount this. Number one is if you get a self-adhesive gasket, you can put it on there and it'll hold it in place. Otherwise, there's 2 screw holes, one mounted up here, one mounted down there that can mount it in place. So now once I've got my 28mm round speaker out, I'm going to put a gasket on the face of that, and that's going to help us mount it here into the enclosure. So our 28mm round speaker 810119 is a package of 4 gaskets. Now I've already taken one out of the package here. So this is a double stick self-adhesive gasket that's laser cut to fit the face of the speaker. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our end of our X-Acto knife, we're just going to kind of slightly twist it to try to peel the backing off of one side or the other. Doesn't matter which is front, which is back. And once we get that pulled away here, there we go. Let's see. Okay, so the gasket's on that side. What you can do is press it onto the knife blade and just peel the one backing off. So now this is our extra. This goes away. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it and carefully line it up here around the face of the gasket, or the face of the speaker. And then we can just simply twist our knife out of the way, and our gasket is secure. We can press it on a flat surface to make sure it's secured all the way, just like that. Now what we can do is take our knife and again peel the other half of the back off. Be patient, it does come off. Just have to get in there just right. And I'm doing it on the side opposite of my face so I can't see. So let's do it again here, so we should be a little quicker. So now you just peel that backing off. Now one thing you can do is you can use your knife blade, since it's magnetic, to help hold the speaker while you position it. Now in this case, the speaker terminals here are on the top. You can use these outer 2 terminals, and we can just place it in here and align it up in such a way so that those terminals are located on the top. And then just simply press fit, just like that. Now we'll take our backing, we'll throw those in the trash. Now the last thing we need to do is run our speaker wires, because there's no speaker wires, and since this was a non-sound model, there are no speaker wires. So the speaker terminals, you will see, move these wires out of the way, you can see are located here. There's an S plus and an S minus terminal, and then you can attach those directly to the speaker. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a length of purple wire. One side of this has already been tinned, but I'm going to show you quickly how to tin the wire. So I'm going to cut off a little of the excess length on that. So the good news is we don't have to go far. So we can do a quick rough measurement, see how far we need to go. That should be satisfactory. So we're going to cut the wire, set that aside. We're going to strip and tin the end. So we're going to take the end of it, we're going to strip the insulation, give it a little bit of a twist. Now I'm going to bring in my soldering materials. So I've got my solder, got my soldering iron, and then I have my flux. When you're using flux, you want to make sure that you're using one for work on electronics. So we're going to put a little bit, a tiny bit about flux on the end here of this wire. Okay. Now we're going to take our soldering iron, we're going to clean the tip off. So there's any residue, anything like that that's on there. Take a little bit, put it on the end of the iron, touch it to the end of this wire, and the flux is going to draw this solder off of the end of the iron and into the wire. So that way we get that nice tinned end. So we're going to do this here. We're going to touch the S plus We're going to put some flux here on the S plus and the S minus terminal. I'm going to show you really quickly. So we're going to do this first one, the S plus. So we're going to put our wire through the S plus hole. We're going to put the soldering iron to there. The flux draws it off the iron and into the joint. And now we have a nice clean joint in there. Now we're going to do the same thing on the speaker. I'm going to tip this over a little bit so I can see it a little better from my angle. Put a little bit of flux there on the joint. This is quickly going to need more hands than I have, so we're going to put here we go. We'll put this under here to help support it. Oops. May want to plan your tools out a little better. All right, now I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers because my fingers are big and fat and they don't hold this very well, especially when we're in tight places. So we're going to grab our speaker wire, turn, and we're going to simply apply it to the speaker terminal here. And with the flux on the joint, just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. So I'm going to do the other speaker wire and we'll be right back. Okay guys, now that I've installed these last two wires in the speaker wire's there, last thing to do is to button it up. Ordinarily what you would do at this point is put the body shell on and do a quick test to make sure everything works. We know it will work, so we're going to go ahead and put the body shell on. If I can get my fingers to cooperate with me. There it goes. So we have our body shell on. We're going to go ahead and tighten the screw. There's one screw here, this front truck one stayed in. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that up. Okay, now we're going to grab our second screw here. This is the one towards the back. And we can put it in the hole here, just like that. We got those two in. Now the last things are couplers. So when you do these couplers, you want to make sure that you have it. They have a top and a bottom. You want to make sure that you put these coupler halves together. And you want to make sure that the coupler is facing the proper direction. So they only fit in one way. So in this particular one, this one's going to be a little bit of a pain because we have the MU hose there as well. So we need to take like a pair of tweezers, move the MU hose out of the way, and then we just need to force it past this snowplow. Now we get our screw, line it up, put it into place. We're going to do the same thing for the back. And again, you want to watch these MU cables back on the front and the back. That detail part is kind of cool. You don't want to press that under the coupler. Put our screw in place. And there you go. There's the install. Now let's take it for a test drive. Okay guys, so now I have the test track here in front of me. So we're going to grab our model. We're going to put it on the track. We're going to hear that familiar low pressure alarm bell. That lets us know the sound's working. We hear the prime mover start up. So we have our address 3 on our cab. We have our horn. We have our headlights on. We have our backup lights on. So both of the ditch lights are actually wired to the FX3 lighting output. So we turn on function 24 and we see that the ditch lights come on. Let's check motion. Start moving in the forward direction. We look good. Move in reverse. Everything looks good. So now comes a couple of things we want to do, and that's set up a couple of CVs. Now one of the first things we want to do is set up the prime mover. What you're hearing now is the traditional 567. So we're going to go ahead and program on the main line CV123. We're going to set that to a value of 7 for the EMD 710 prime mover, which would be correct for the SD70M. So now we have that. You can go through and select an electronic bell or a mechanical bell. You've got a whole list of different things that you can select to allow the decoder to customize to match the model that you've installed it in. So for more information on that, please visit our website at SoundTraxx.com. Be sure to check out the user's guide for detailed information, as well as the sound selection reference, so that you can get the sounds that are preloaded into this EMD decoder and you can decide which ones select for you.